thanks for joining me today. Got a bit of a problem with the 1 Series. The front here has dropped down, driving down the motorway, bang, suspension's dropped and it looks like the spring's gone through the tyre and we've had a bit of a blowout as well. So what we're going to do, jack it up and have a good look under there, see what's going on, check that spring out. If the spring's broke, we can upgrade them. So the first problem we've got to overcome is the height, getting the jack under, because I've just put the car on a block of wood and now see if we can get the jack underneath the car, because it is really low because that spring is gone. Oh, tight that is. I'll pop the hat off it. Great thing about these jacks, you can just take that little hat off it and then you can, it gives you another couple of inches lower, and that's going straight under the little foot on the bottom of the sill there to lift that up. That's nicely cleared. I've got the Milwaukee gun here and a locking wheel nut key. We'll just slip that in and bang these nuts off the wheel. If you haven't got an electric nut gun, just crack these off on the ground before you take it off. Some of these are extremely tight. I mean, these are super tight. I don't know what's been used to put them on, probably a pneumatic gun at the tyre shop last time it was in. I've not had these wheels off this car yet, but I've had to go for the short stubby socket there, and the gun's on full power, and even then it was knocking hard to get them out. That one's not too bad, but with the big socket it's putting that much power through it that it's actually spraying in the socket and the nuts are getting stuck inside it. Yeah, it's not been off for a while. Bit of corrosion there as well, but at least it's off now. See there, the spring has gone straight through the back of the tyre. Once this wheel's out of the way, it now reveals what we're trying to see, and look at that, you can actually see now the spring has broken off the carrier, snapped down, and yeah, got itself right where the back of the tyre would be. Look, it's made a bit of a mess, that. It's bent a couple of brackets, the bracket that holds the brake pipe and stuff. See on that at the bottom there, just here, it snapped the end off it. It's all loosey goosey on there. Wow. We've got to take the under tray off, give us access to these bolts up here. So let's we pull these 8mm bolts out. Now I'm using the Milwaukee M12 ratchet here, electric ratchet, fantastic bit of kit. I've got links in the description for all the tools that I've used in the video, which can whiz these self-tapping bolts straight out the bottom of the under tray. There's quite a few of them, to be fair, all along the front, down the side. This makes light work of it. Some of them are corroded and a bit broken, but we can replace those. We've got some new ones we can put in there at the end, the ones that we need to replace. We'll slide that under tray out of the way. The under tray's out of the way, we can get the jack and lower that down onto the axle stand. Like that. Okay, first one we're going to do up here is the anti-roll bar, the drop link, where it's bolted through the strut. Let's undo that one. We'll just spin the steering over to give us a bit more room. Just turn the steering over a little bit, it'll give us a bit more angle to get at it. That spring's going to get in your way a little bit, look, but that's the nut off there. If I just jack this up slightly, we'll be able to release that. So let's get the jack underneath the hub. This could be a bit tricky because that spring's dropped down over all of that drop link. It's caught on the bracket at the back that holds the pipe. So we're going to struggle to release it. I'm looking at this thinking, is it going to come off, is it not? The spring has actually wrapped itself around the whole assembly there, so I can't release it. So I'm going to have to cut through this. I'm going to have to cut through this spring, I think. Unless I can get it up out of the way. Get it away from that anti-roll bar link. Every time I jack it up, it's I think I'm going to have to cut that off. I'm going to get the grinder. I'm going to take that straight off the wire. So with this I've got the Bosch angle grinder there with the nice cutting blade on it, and I'm going to have to cut this spring up into 2 or 3 pieces to try and get it out. There's no tension on it, so I'm not worried about it springing and pinging me in the face or anything, but we've got to just slowly cut through each ring and just get it off and get it out of the way, which is then going to enable us to move it and get that leg out. Had a right good chomp at that lot. So I've got rid of all but for that one bit there, and he'll have to stay in there. Right. So just pop the jack underneath the anti-roll bar and just lifted it slightly, and then the anti-roll bar drop link has just popped out nicely. Squirt a lube on the pinch bolt at the back. Like that. And a little bit on the back of that. Thread on that wishbone bolt there as well. That one's coming out. That's an 18mm. I've got my Rocky universal joint there. Yeah, that's nice. I'm using the Milwaukee impact gun here, but you can just use a ratchet and a bar to crack these off and undo them. It's just far easier with the impact gun. Oh, that's that one off there. I'll find that nut and collect it up. But if you get the spanner in on these, when you can't get them out by pulling it, if you can get the little open-ended spanner behind it, pull the spanner while you're whizzing it, and out the bolt comes. Great way of getting them out. That's the pinch bolt out. We've got this ABS wire we've just got to push away from the... Oh, so that goes through there, the bracket does. So slide that off now, like that. That's away there. Let's turn the steering across so we've got more. It's a good job we put that lube on there because these bolts are mighty tight, and it does help when you're whizzing them off. You can see it starting to smoke because they're getting quite hot there. And we do the same thing, we just whiz this bolt all the way out now. Rinse that out. You should be able to get a pry bar beyond there and just pull that out now. Just get the lever in the back there and just slowly push it away. It's quite tight, but it'll come. One final push. There we go. Let's give us a bit more to play with. It's all loosey-goosey. We'll give this a good squirt around the base of the leg, because that's where that's going to be driven out from. You can either bash this down with a hammer and it will knock the leg out. I'm going to use a ram and just press it out with the ram. It just saves a lot of bashing, but it all does the same job. If you've got the tool to separate the grip on that, I'll show you the tool. It makes life easier as well. So this is what we're going to put in behind and twist it, and it will spread the jaws and make that easier to come out. So that stays in there now while we remove this leg. This set is fantastic. I use it for no end of different uses. This is one of them. You can use it for bodywork as well, for pushing out dents and all kinds of things like that. But for splitting these legs, it's great. It's really nimble. You can shrink it, you can put the poles on, make it longer. You can see that dropping out now. It's just sliding out lovely. We can just adjust it over to a slightly different position to push it straighter. Obviously the further down it gets, the more it wants to push it over to the side, making it a little bit tighter. But we can put it in, there's quite a few different places you can put it in, but that seems to be working really well. You can see that sliding that straight out now. It's going to get tight as we get to the bottom. But yeah, there we go, look. You can see it going, nearly there. It's just locked up a little bit. Free it off and hopefully that should come out now. There is a lot of corrosion around the bottom of this strut, but with a bit of a persuasion. There it is. Just gotta watch this ABS wire, it doesn't tangle on anything. But the leg is now free. No tension on the brake or the ABS wires. I'm happy with everything there. Let's take the 3 bolts off the top. We've got 1, 2 and 1 under there. Let's see if we can get this one out without taking this cross member out. We should be able to. Yeah, it's a toss up. That strut brace there, it's a bit of an awkward one to get off, and if we can do it without removing it, save ourselves a job. There we go, that's that one out. Move this one out next. Last but not least, this one, and when we take this one out, the leg will drop. So let me show you around the other side as it comes out. That is the beauty of using like the Milwaukee electric ratchet. You can do it one-handed. If you're trying to wind this by hand, you'd really struggle. But you can hold the strut with one hand and undo the bolts with the other. 3 bolts out, give this a wiggle. And there it comes. Whew, one complete leg. Let's get that stripped down. Let's get in the garage. Here we go. Let's get this trapped in the vise. We'll get that up there a little bit. I can even get that bit of spring off now. So that's rid of that one. Okay. Right, that's in the vise good and proper. We'll get this top mounting off. So I'll have the screwdriver in there, pop the cap off the top. And you can see there, we don't need to put a compressor on this obviously because we cut the spring off. So what we need to do is just whiz that bolt out of there. So that one's an 18mm socket. Get that on there, we'll get that in the gun and see if we can whiz it out. And it's just spinning on us. Okay, so we've got an Allen key head there. We could grab that with an Allen key, but because I've got a new leg, this one's all corroded, so I bought some new legs. I can just grab hold of the strut itself with a pair of mole grips. If I was putting this back, I wouldn't be doing this because it's going to mark it, but it don't matter because we've got a new one. So there we go, we'll clamp that up there.
Let me know if I can help.
And then we can whiz that off. Like that. There's the nut off the top. And now that's off, we can release all of this. We've got stones and all sorts in there. Hopefully I've got the right collection of bits of crap. So I'll tip all that lot out.
I didn't find collection of bits of crap on Apple Music.
Don't you love Siri? That looks a bit better. Get the grips off of there as well. See, the bump stop's a little bit worse for wear, but I haven't got another one of those, so we're going to have to go without that.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
Oh, shut up, you stupid watch. I'll come back and put some new ones of those on at a later date. Looking at this, I'm really pleased I've got a new one, because look at that on the top there. It's all corroded, and the seal is about ready to go on that. You can see how it's all out of shape. But here's the original spring that's broken, look, and it's bust off right on that point there, and that's why I couldn't see it when I looked originally. For this knocking noise we were getting, I couldn't find it, but look at that, it's because it was hidden by that joint there. But there it is. I've got that to go back on the top. That sits underneath there. And then this is now surplus to requirements. We might need the rubber off of there. Let's have a look at the new one. So what we've got here are some new shock absorbers. We can get in the box. It could be a challenge in itself. Good old German engineering. And let's just have a quick look at that, see if it's the same. That looks pretty good. Then they're going to be sided, so I just need to check the other one and make sure I'm, because the part numbers are slightly different. And yet kind as they are on the box, I don't think it says left or right on it. Oh, so the arrows, this one's pointing to the right, this one's pointing to the left. So yeah, this is definitely the right one that I'm doing. So we are okay with that. Let's take that off the top. We do need the rubber off of there. We haven't got the rubber, so we can peel that off of there. Give it a quick shake, and then that can now sit back on top of our new one. The little rubber thing goes underneath through there. Lovely. Let's have that one out of the way. You can see how squidgy this one is. It's quite soft, like, I can really move it about. And even on the thing it's got an arrow. Oh, I'll tell you what, I am gone in the head. Let's just have an old towel in here to trap that in there so we don't mark it up. I see there's a lot more pressure in that one. And as for the springs, we've got a little treat. We've got the Eibach Pro kit. These are like M Sport springs, but I wanted some really good quality ones because I don't want to be busting springs, because these cheap aftermarket ones, they always break. But if I get decent Eibachs on it, they're going to be absolutely beautiful. And that was going to sit on there, and we'll squash that down with the clamp to get the compressor in. Got my old faithful horrible spring compressors. I hate these. I keep saying that every time I make a video and I use them. I must buy another set. I haven't got around to it ever again. So that's one on there. One on that. And let's get tightening that down. So slowly just keep working it side to side, a bit on this side, a bit on the other side, pulling it down equally until it's nicely compressed. Get that in there, that rubber nicely in position. Okay, that's all lined up there. That's lined up there. That's going to sit on the spring like that. And we're almost coming through the hole there. Just poking through, so we don't need to go too much more, just a bit more. So I've just mocked this up just so we know how far it is, then we can put the bump stop and the gaiter back in the middle. See it coming through, look. Okay, and then the top bush, which it's got quite a there's a good gap in there. It's got a bearing in it, that. I might just be able to get through. Let's have a look. Ooh, just a tiny bit more. I hate this now. This is where the tension in that spring is immense, and if these spring compressors ping off, we're going to have some damage to the garage roof. But yeah, you can see me quaking, doing them up. Ooh, not good. Oh, definitely now. Right, let's make sure that we're all in position there. That's in the right spot there. That's in the right spot there. And while I'm looking at that, it looks like it could do with a bit of new grease in there, so I should pop a bit in while we're at it. I've got a bit of LM grease to go in. Here we go. Let's have a bit of that in there. And we can just repack that in. Just patch that and get some more in there, some fresh stuff. Now just keep working it in, just keep packing the new grease into the bearing. Get a washer on the top there. Needs a good clean though. We'll just give that a good wiping down first. And that'll sit back in there like that. We'll turn that over and then we can drop a bit more fresh grease down the top as well. These top bearings are susceptible to getting some water in there, which is why it gets crudded up. And now we know that everything's in the right place, the bearing's lubed up, we can get the dust cover back in and the bump stop. Okay, so we've got that there. We'll get the bump stop back on with the cover. Yeah, look at the state of that bump stop. It is in a sorry state. Unfortunately, like I say, I couldn't get hold of one today, and I need to get the car back on the road for tomorrow. And we'll have his top on. So, unlucky for me, I've got to take all this off again. I'm going to get a new one of those. So, at least all the bolts will come off nice and easy.
Someone is at the front
so we can drop this new nut in the top there, through the mounting, slightly bigger than the old one. So we've got 21mm socket going on there, we've got 6mm Allen key going through there. I'm going to grab hold of the socket with my mole grips. And then wind this anti-clockwise. Right, so we've just got a little socket there, we'll stick that on the end of there and hopefully that'll be, that's better, look. Just watch you don't drop it. Just wind that down now. Yeah, like that. Oh, bang goes another floor tile. Oh, that's tight. Let's just stick it on the gun and give it a little rattle. Lovely. And pop the little dust cap back on the top. And then we can undo the spring compressor. So make sure we're all lined up where we are. And then again, undoing evenly, little bit either side, bit at a time. Just keep winding them back. And that'll just move the tension in there beautifully. These Eibach springs are amazing. I've got them on 3 cars now and they're just fantastic. They really drive nice. Not too hard. Not too soft. Beautiful. There it is. All ready to go back in the car. Okay, so here's his leg now. We've got to get that back up there into position. Up at the top. There's a little lug at the back there. That's got to fit into the little hole at the back, so that's got to go to the rear. Let's get that hanging up there. So we just lifted into position, getting that little lug at the back through, and then we can just slip those 3 little nuts on the top. That's those 3 started. And that's got to turn around like that. We've got these 2 little noggins at the back. They've got to sit down the back of the hub there. Got a bit of emery cloth on the end of a file there just to give this a bit of a once over inside the hub here, just get rid of this corrosion. So we'll have a bit of lube in there. A little bit of lube on there. We're just going to try and keep all these wires out of the way and make sure that they're routed the right side of the strut. So we just feed them round, making sure there's no tension on them at all. Lift that up. So we've got that there, we'll just pull that round, drop that in there, push it back. that's going to come around like that, so that's all right. It's looking good. And we're just about lining up at the back there. Okay, yeah, that's going to sit like that there. It's got to come forward a bit. So that's going to, this piece here sits exactly front on that. Two little noggins at the back there ready to go in. I'm just going to get the jack under here and jack this up. I like to get the jack under that hub there rather than on the disc itself. Get a bit of load on it again. And then just tap it. A few little taps with it under pressure and that strut just soon slides down into its hub all the way home until it hits the marker. Locked into place, we can definitely get the top bolts done up, and we can really put some pressure on the underneath of this and push it back up again. So let's get those 3 13mm bolts tight. And as we do these up, the little lug centralises and pulls through. This is non-adjustable on the top here, it's only going one way and it'll only go into one position. You can buy fully adjustable top mounts, but we've not got anything like that on this one. We'll just whiz that last bolt up with the spanner, the tricky one. Oh, look at him go, look. Yeah, there we go, that's that sorted. Lovely. And you can see now this marker here is touching the top of the hub, so we're all the way down. Yay, get the pinch bolt through. Get that out of there now. Have that pinch bolt in the hole. We'll get the ABS bracket there to go through. That there slides inside there. And that'll go through all of that. Little anti-roll bar link as well, which we can push through the back of that. We can just whiz this pinch bolt up now, if I can get it on there with my wibbly wobbler. Here we go. Spin that up, got the spanner on the back end of it. And I'm just going to get this up nice and tight. There it is. All the way home. We'll do the same with this bottom bolt here, through the bottom arm, straight into the subframe. Whiz that up as well. Get that up nice and tight. Oh, got my socket stuck. Here it is. Beautiful. Put the rubber dobber back round. And I'll just get the jack under the anti-roll bar link. We just lift this anti-roll bar up slightly and then we can do the drop link up. And just lift that up slightly to bring that into line. Which means now we can get this bracket back on here and an anti-roll bar nut back on that link. If these spin when you put the gun on it, you can just either drop it down and put a bit of tension on it, which is what I'll do. Or you can put an Allen key through it as well. It's got a little old Allen key in the middle and use a spanner on it as well. This bracket is a bit bent from where the old spring snapped came down over the top there. You can see the shape of that's all out, so I'm going to have to bend this and just reshape it. Over there a bit, out the way. Out the way of that. Yeah, I'd say that looks about right now. We've got the ABS wire in nicely, we've got that in nicely, the top strut's done up, the legs done up, we've got both the pinch bolts through. Let's drop this jack out. And that's one side done. Get the wheel back on it, but we've got to do the other side now. We're going to make it all nice and even, so we'll get round there, change that side over. We'll have to put a different wheel on because the original one, the tyre had gone through where the spring had got it, so I'll stick a temporary one on for now and get the new tyre on the wheel. So let's chuck a wheel on here. I've got one of these wheels off my 3 Series, and you can see by the offsets on this once the wheel's on, it actually sticks out further on the 1 Series than it does on the 3 Series. So they are all slightly different. We're on the other side. We're just going to whiz through this one really quick because we've done the other one in detail. Any little issues that I've got, I'll highlight them for you. And we're just going to say, whiz this pinch bolt out. We'll get that out of there. Just tap it through and we'll put the spanner on it and just wind it back. Again, a really great way of pulling these bolts out. Just use the spanner to lever it out. Wow, that took some getting out. Why don't you look at the crud on that? That's so bound up. Oh, yeah, beauty. Get that wire brushing before we put back in. Get the sensors out of that. Oh, it's on that bracket. Can we get the bracket out? There we go. Yeah, they're good. Yep, get this bottom arm bracket, whip the bolt out, get that through, and then we can just lever this one out of the way as well. It's a little bit stiff to get that one out there, a bit tricky. But we got there in the end with a bit of persuasion. Oh, there we go. Lever that suspension arm out. Oh, there it goes. We'll just spread that hub carrier there so we can get the strut out. We're just literally the same again with the ram, just push it out. Bit of a tap. Away she comes. There it is. Got the corrosion on that though. Wow. We just got to be careful of these wires again and the brake pipe. And obviously this side has still got the spring attached to it, so this one will be under tension. Not as easy to manoeuvre. Just got to be careful of those wires. There it comes. Bingo. Okay. That's that out of the way. Right, I'll get that one out as well. Just undo those 3 bolts on the top. And down it comes. Here comes the new one. We've swapped it over like we did the other one. Just feed it back up, line up the little lug through the top there. We'll clean up that. Put a bit of lube in there as well. A bit of corrosion, clean that out. Let's get this back up and into place. Just going to rotate it round slightly. There we go, that drops in. You can see every time I jack it and shake it, that strut just slides into the hub carrier nicely. Just gently works its way down. There we go, look. That's coming in nicely. In you come, in you come. Come on, baby. Just a bit more. Oh, she slips in. Nearly there. And touchdown. There it is. We can have the anti-roll bar link in first on this one. Just bang that up. Release that nice separator. Clean thread on the pinch bolt. Just put it through on the wire wall. That does look nice. There we go. Whiz that up. Get that up nice and tight. Oh. We can get this bottom arm back in again. These subframes on these BMWs are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that aluminium. The manufacturing is second to none. They're an absolute beauty. Beautiful car to work on. Oh, there it is. Right, that one's up. Anti-roll bar's up. That's up. Let's get the plastic cover back down there. That one back down there like that. Woo! Well, I think we're about there. It looks like we've got all the bits and pieces back in again. Brake retainers, bolts. Well, we'll get it up in there a bit, get the under tray back on. So I've got my tray of nuts and bolts. These are just Falcon accessories. I put a link in. These are all the self-tappers to replace some of the broken ones. We'll get this under tray back in place. Pretty much the same as what we took it off, all in reverse. Get one of them in the side. Woo. Right, we can whack all the rest of the bolts back in now. It's all pegged into place, and then we're just going to whiz all of these little 8mm bolts back up again. They're all the self-tapping thread. I've got that new tub full if I need any. And to be fair, most of them have gone back. We'll get the axle stand out the way. Have the wheel on. Zip that up nicely. And drop her down on the deck. There it sits. Gorgeous. So that's it. That's the front end all finished. We've got them new struts in there. We've got the new Eibach Pro Kit springs, making it sit just that little bit lower, a bit more stance to the car, and look absolutely stunning. Drive really, really nice. The ride's not too hard. It's not too soft. It's just a real nice combination of the two. We're going to do in the next video the rears. We've got the rear springs to fit in there. So yeah, join me in the next one and we'll complete the job. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me on this one. It's been a cracking job. The car's looking lovely. And I'll see you in the next video. So drop me a little thumbs up. Love your comments. Drop me some comments and like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Take care.